All right, you've been waiting for it. We give it to you now. Dishin with Dev, QB1, University of Utah starting quarterback Devon Dampier joins us in studio for our favorite weekly segment. Dev, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Good.
Best thing about 1-0 is a chance to be 2-0. How does it feel start off the season with a big win at the Rose Bowl against UCLA?
Yeah, awesome. We fulfilled our team expectations going out there to play as a unit, and I felt like we did that. So expectations were met for us.
I'm glad that you used the word expectations there, because that was the thing that all off season long, every Utah fan was buzzing about. We were talking about every damn day on this show. What should we expect? What is a reasonable level of expectation, not just for the team, but obviously for you very specifically, because you and by extension Jason Beck were brought in to fix the issues of the last 2 years. And so the expectation, I'll be honest with you, I was like, I had set it based on conversations I had with some of your coaches at New Mexico and on my own assessment of your New Mexico games. And so my expectations were high.
Yeah.
But I was like, that spoiled me right there. That UCLA game, I was just like, okay, well, now the bar gets elevated even more. So
Sure.
Expectations are such a fascinating thing, and I'm glad the team's expectations were met. I think that the fan base, and I'm a member of that fan base, I think you exceeded those expectations in week 1.
Yeah, I felt like our expectations were, our defense has always been good every year. So, that was huge for them to have that type of game as well. Their total yards were very low. So, to do that in nowadays age is, that's what's up. And, yeah, just offensive-wise, I talked about it a little earlier. Just, we wanted to make emphasis that we could score the football on the offensive side and, just turn that thing around this year. So.
Well, you certainly did that. Are you the type, like if I say what was your exact stat line from Saturday, can you give me every number? Do you memorize those things?
No, I do remember I had a 80% completion rating.
21 of 25, 206 yards,
Yep.
8.2 yards per completion, a couple of touchdowns, and, of course, no interceptions.
Yeah, I can remember the no interceptions too. I definitely completion percentage and interception. That is the numbers I remember for sure.
Okay. Obviously, some of that is what we've been talking about all off season long as well. Tell me how it felt, right? You're out there, you're taking your first snaps, you're getting the picture of an opposing team, right? It's a different uniform for the first time since you've been at the University of Utah. Was the game nice and in the passing game specifically? Because obviously when you're running the ball, everyone's moving in slow motion except for you. We'll get to that here in a second. But were the sight windows what you thought they would be? Were your receivers as open as you thought they would be? Did the passing game play out for you the way you thought it would?
Yeah, I think I actually felt just a little bit more comfortable than I expected myself to. I went in that game, with confidence. I got a year under my belt already, so why not go out there like I've been out there before? And, my team helped me out a lot. So, yeah, just being out there, I felt like I was very confident, and just the amount of film and time I put into it, I felt like I got everything that I was expecting from the defense as well. So, yeah, I felt like I was on it.
How crucial was that opening drive for you? You guys' first offensive possession, march the ball down the field and get into the end zone, which, of course, is a tone setter in any game, but in the first game of the season and in your first game in a Utah uniform, I imagine maybe even more significant.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely it's just a big momentum thing for sure. As also just for us to be on the field all together for the first time, and we can obviously put up points right away. There's a lot to grow from that, but just huge confidence booster rest of the game.
We're also gonna record a conversation with Jason Beck today. All right, we do Coordinator's Corner. Last week it was Morgan Scally. Today it's going to be Jason Beck. I came on the show yesterday, which was our first show after the long weekend, and I said there's never been a better first impression made in sports than the one that you and he put together for this Utah fan base. His play calling in that game, I felt, was masterful. I felt like it appealed to the folks who want a more creative offensive approach, but also to the folks who like the way Utah's done it, because you put together a 10-minute drive in the third quarter or whatever. Give me your assessment of how the play calling went in that game. Every time that something comes in your ear, were you thinking that's going to work?
Yeah. Obviously I'm at Utah because of him.
Yeah.
I truly enjoy being in his offense. I feel like, again, it is creative and it's very my play style. And, I just felt like Coach had that trust in me this game for sure. I felt it out there. He allowed me to dial up the offense, gave me a lot of options during plays to do what I wanted. And, when the coach allows you to do that, efficient plays normally come out of that.
You were the leading rusher for Utah in this game as well. 16 carries, 87 yards, 5+ yards per carry. You got into the end zone with your feet. Is that a workload that you felt like it was a good even split in the pass game and in your individual run game this week?
I just play to win, to be honest with you. I know you're gonna hate me saying that, dude, I go out there and if it happens, I'm running that ball. So,
sure.
The workload's never too much for me though. I never complain about either side, throwing or running. Whatever's gonna get that done.
Honestly, I was more expecting you to say like, no, give me 25 carries. I want to go over 100 yards every game or something like that. But I mean, look, it was obviously a massively productive game. You guys only had to punt the ball away one time. You got a 54-yard field goal out of the freshman kicker. One of the hard things about a game like that, where everything goes so well, and you put up 40+ points, and you hold the defense holds the opposition to only a single touchdown, is you say, all right, what do we have to still tune? What do we have to improve upon? You guys are in film. You know what you still have to improve upon. So give me a couple of the points that were maybe on not quite so positive side of the ledger for you. Some of the things that you came away from the film study after UCLA and said, all right, I got to get better at this, or we have to do this better for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, I just think, for me personally, just, protection issues and stuff like that, just me knowing what protection I'm calling, knowing who's free, knowing who I'm responsible for, just throwing into blitzes and things like that. I could definitely improve on myself. Outside of that, we did actually play a really good game overall. Small details can obviously be fixed, as timing and pushing the depth and things like that for the receivers and whatnot. But we had a pretty efficient game. The biggest part is to come into this week with the same mindset we had last week, and I think we did that so far coming in.
Yeah, so the tone changes, and we talked about this last week as well. The tone changes when you're getting into the weekly routine. It's now, all right, we celebrated that win on I was asking you off air, not Saturday night. By the time you got home, it was early Sunday morning from the Rose Bowl. So you got to enjoy that a little bit, I guess, on Sunday. And then, how long before you turn the page and say, all right, now it's Cal Poly?
Yeah, I kind of got like a 2-day rule.
Okay.
I live by a two-day rule. I've always have, just with football. 2 days is over. So, I love how we came out, but, it is on to that next week, and let's continue to prove ourselves.
It's a different caliber of opponent heading into this week. I played some FCS football at the end of my career, so look, there's obvious differences. We talked about this last week as well, where the trenches are usually the biggest difference, and I imagine that's going to be the case when you all face Cal Poly. But what have you seen from them? Where are they dangerous? You're obviously a more talented team. You're a bigger, stronger, faster. You're overmatching them by design. But where is Cal Poly decent or something you have to pay attention to with the Mustangs?
Yeah, they do a lot of things with their coverage. They try to switch it up just a little bit. They like to fill in the box and stuff. So, they're a little bit aggressive. They like to try to get in that box and stop that run game. So, that's something to look into going into this game.
The offensive line, we talked about it a lot this offseason. Utah's supposed to have the best offensive line in the country. Through week one, individuals graded out incredibly well. If you pay attention to things like Pro Football Focus, I know the coaches have their own assessment system. And obviously the numbers, both in the run game and you staying clean in that pocket, indicate that the line lived up to the billing, the preseason billing.
Yeah, those boys been working hard. So I'm so happy that the world got to see what they done. They won Big 12 offensive line this week. So yeah, that was awesome. I'm happy they're getting the credit they deserve. But yeah, they kept me really safe back there, and the run game was awesome.
Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, co-offensive Player of the Week, I guess. You had to share it this week, but you got those. You got those honors. And look, I mean that's a cool little feather in the cap for your first game in Power 4 football in the Big 12. How did it feel when you got that news?
Yeah, awesome. I'm always happy to represent my team. You can't win player of the week without those boys. So I'm just happy someone got to represent our team, and it was me. So awesome.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking to QB1 at the University of Utah, Dishin with Devon Dampier. Conversation is brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Experience the Culligan difference. America First Credit Union, Polylift, Concrete Lifting and Piering, and ARUP Blood Services. Give local, save local. You all were the nightcap game. You were the last big important game of the opening week or the opening Saturday, I should say, of college football. And you know what? Notoriously, East Coasters, they don't stay up late to watch, but there's a certain amount of intrigue with this Utah team. Can Kyle Whittingham have a resurgence in what a lot of people think is his last year? Obviously, your arrival and things like that. And I was surprised that on Sunday and on Monday, there were a lot of national media outlets talking about the Utes, talking about you specifically. I know you're not the type to read your own headlines, but when Pat McAfee, biggest sports show in the country right now, is gushing about Devon Dampier, how do you process it?
Yeah, I keep myself very leveled, down to earth type of guy. I feel like that was one game. I still got a lot more to prove. There's 11 more games on the week, so my job is to keep this up, keep our offense up, and let's finish through this season.
Defensive players got some snaps. Coach Witt told us this was going to happen. He said at Big 12 Media Days, Smith Snowden and Lander Barton are going to get some offensive touches. They both got plenty of touches. They both scored touchdowns in this game. Jackson Benny was also playing on offense, which is something I didn't know if all of us expected. Tell me your thoughts on those defensive guys being part of your offense.
Yeah, I thought they played they played super good. Just to be able to have that flip side, to go to defense to offense and have the positive impact that they did. Huge kudos to them. And that's not easy. That's not easy at all. So they're definitely taking on a hard task to also learn the offense as fast as they did. And yeah, I love the way they play. That's why they're in there.
I think Smith Snowden, my hot take from yesterday was he played too well on offense. He's going to end up being more of an offensive player by the end of the year than a defensive player by the end of the year. If he's that dynamic with the ball in his hands, you got to give him at least that many snaps on offense probably every game.
Yeah, no, Smith's got some talent for sure. No doubt. I just talked to him about it too. I was like, you got to do something on offense a little better. And he was like, man, everybody keeps talking to me about offense. I still was locking people up. It's like, we know.
Tell me, Jackson Benny is one of the most fascinating guys on the team for me because, like, it's the fairy tale story of you show up, local kid, nobody knows who you are, nobody knows you're going to be a good player, and suddenly this coaching staff trusts. He was a great special teams player last year, and this year this coaching staff trusts him to play multiple positions on defense and even take offensive snaps. I mean, that is the dream for every kid who grows up watching the Utes. Tell me what you think of Jackson. What's his I've never even talked to him. What's his personality like? What's his role on this team as a guy who came in, like, everyone knew Spencer Fano was going to be good when he committed to the University of Utah. Jackson Benny was a nobody, and I say that affectionately because he just proved himself through practice and game reps.
Yeah, I even got to hear last year that he came in as a walk-on and earned that scholarship very early. So, he's a grinder. I honestly think he's probably one of the most athletic people on our team. He's good all everywhere around. So, I love the way he plays offense and defense. He's one of those guys that you're gonna expect that 100% effort every single play.
I'm getting to the nitpicky stuff now, so you're gonna enjoy this. But when you're carrying the ball, there's a certain excitement, but also everybody in this fan base holds their breath a little bit, like get out of bounds, get down. You're not shy about contact. I know you're being smart, but you got hit a couple times in this game. When you watch back or when you get up after being tackled, is there ever like all right, and next time I got to get out of bounds. I'm the quarterback. I'm QB1. Like, how do you process that part?
Yeah, adrenaline is a thing for
Sure.
me. It's definitely going during the game. So, I don't feel those hits until obviously after the game. But I could slide a little bit more. I think just watching it, like, okay, I probably could have slid right there or not. But I just think, when you play not to get hurt, that's when bad things normally happen. So I just play to my natural ability, and whatever feels right in that moment, that's what I do.
I remember we used to talk to Cam Rising, and I asked him a question similar to that. And there's almost a level of offense taken, like, because the implication is that as a quarterback, you're not a football player. You can't handle the contact. And I know that's not it. It's just there has to be a more intellectual approach when your position is so important to the success of the team. So are you like a tiger that can't learn new stripes when it comes to contact, where you're just like, that's me? I'm a football player first, and I'm going to run through some things. I'll try to slide when it feels right. But is that something that can be coached out of you if it has to be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very coachable just as a person. So, yeah, it's something I can get to. Game time mindset's so much different though when you're on that field, and your heart's pumping. Anything can happen. So.
Yeah, obviously. All right. So, did you have a chance to watch any of the other? There were Sunday games. There were Monday night. There was a Monday night game in college football. The Big 12 had representation all across the full opening weekend. Did you have a chance? Do you care to watch those games because you're so deep into what you all are doing?
Yeah, no, I love football. Just got off watching that TCU game. They played that outstanding as well too. Just open up against North Carolina like that. But yeah, I mean, I got to watch Baylor, obviously the Texas game. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're tuned in all football games. We love. I personally, I always try to just uplift everybody in college football. I never try to bring people down. We're all in this for the same goal. So.
What is the conversation in the locker room about? Now you're a ranked team, top 25 team. You guys seem like you've proven at least 1 week that you're capable of what a lot of people think you're capable of. But also, if you get a chance to watch the rest of the the performers in the Big 12, it looks like there's like 4 or 5 pretty good teams in this conference. Is that part of your daily awareness at all, that you guys are like, oh yeah, we're good, but also, did you see what TCU did? Did you see what Iowa State's done so far?
Yeah, we stay very inside our circle when it comes to this outside noise and extra stuff like that. We try not to pay overly too much attention just because we're ranked. That's not going to stop the way we play or change our mindset or anything. But yeah, just to see more Big 12 teams in there, I love it because I feel like we're that conference everyone's trying to sleep on and stuff like that. So to see that we're climbing up in there and we're kind of getting our respect that we deserve. It's awesome.
The scoring got spread out. Nobody scored multiple touchdowns. Everyone is like Oprah's favorite things. You get one, you get one, you get one. Do you feel like that's going to be kind of the identity of this offense, where rather than having a bell cow back or a go-to wide receiver, everybody's going to get to participate in the touchdowns?
Yeah, I think when someone gets hot, they get hot, and you definitely go to them for sure. But for the most part, yeah, this is an offense where anyone can get the ball any play. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of take whatever the defense gives, and most of the time those guys are open.
Lot of really strong performances on both sides of the ball, as we have already talked about. Is there anyone that we're still sleeping? We still haven't seen what that person is capable of, that because you've been practicing, you've been working hard with these guys, that maybe in week 1 didn't really get to showcase what they're capable of, but it's coming at some point.
Yeah, I think I would say Tobias and Ryan Davis, those two receivers. Got to see a little flashes of them last game, but definitely, when the pass game is obviously involved more in winning the game, yeah, those guys are gonna shine.
That is one thing that, we had conversation with listeners and things like that about, like, well, all these defensive guys having to take offensive snaps. I had a question yesterday on the text line. Does it mean that there's not enough talented guys on offense, so we got to lean on those guys, or is it just because they're that good? I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, we play week by week with what's gonna work and what's not, and we thought you're gonna get a lot of open field situations on the perimeter, and we think Smith Snowden's one of those guys. You get him the ball with space, he's gonna make stuff happen. So we're able to get him in a lot of those situations, and yeah, just the run game. We had 2 tight ends in almost every single play, so running plays off of our 2 tight end look was awesome as well.
The game this weekend is going to have a Ring of Honor induction for 2 important people in the history of Utah football. Coach Ron McBride, for the modern fan, is a guy that kind of started the journey that Utah is on right now, right? In the early 90s when you'd lost to BYU 18 times in a row or whatever, he's the guy that came in and started turning things around and put Utah on the path it's on right now. Yeah. He was coaching when you weren't even born yet. So, like, do you have an awareness of Coach Mack and the impact he's had on this program? Is that something that they're talking about, like, in a team meeting to educate you all, or how is the modern day Ute connected with these 2 guys that are going into the Ring of Honor this weekend?
Yeah, I wouldn't say like overly talked about internally, just like in team meeting and stuff, but definitely online. I've actually I peeked it this week. Yeah, that was sick. Our U Nation is very good at we don't forget our Utes. We definitely appreciate everyone that's wore the jersey. So and been affiliated in this team. So yeah, I mean I've seen it, and that's awesome.
When you think of your role on this team, and we're going to be, you guys might be in the locker room when the actual thing is happening. I don't know how it's going to work. Yeah. But like Alex Smith's name is already up on the side of the stadium. We know some names are going to go up there eventually. Coach Ellis is probably going to be up there eventually, at the very least. Coach Witt, obviously, he's going to have a damn statue outside the stadium at some point. But is that a goal in the mind of a player on today's team, or even a goal for you, where you're like, man, if those guys can have their name up there, I'd like to put my name up there, 20 years in the future, or whenever that happens?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a goal. That's kind of one of those forever milestones you lay down that people will not forget. So it's always cool to have such a big impact that a university thinks you deserve your name to be recognized anytime.
So Cal Poly, as we already talked about, FCS team, these games are designed to be kind of tune-ups, tweak the fine details, things like that, but you do have to give an opponent respect. There is a level of expectation, to keep using that word, that, you maybe only play a half, or you get to sit out the whole 4th quarter because you're in a position of a significant lead. But you can't take that for granted. So is the mindset any different at all against a team like this, where it's all about just getting the win, getting out healthy, and hopefully, tweaking whatever minor details before you head into a Wyoming game, and then obviously conference play after that?
Yeah, I just being at New Mexico, I've been on the other side of this, you could say. Just when I went to get to Auburn and Arizona, I thought Arizona was one of those teams that kind of underestimated us and came out flat. And, obviously we took advantage of that, scored about 30, 40 points that game. So, and Auburn was a little bit more on top of that. So just to kind of play against that and just see how, they responded now that I'm in the expectation that we're supposed to win this game. Yeah, I mean, I know what that mindset's like to come into this game. So it doesn't change me. I'm going in this game, it's another week. All my attention's on this game.
How famous are you in Salt Lake City right now? Like, it's in the morning. Downtown's pretty quiet right now, but, like, can you go to the store? Can you walk around on campus? Like, I mean, that performance was big time, and obviously lived up to or exceeded the expectation. So are you a celebrity right now, in an uncomfortable level of celebrity in Salt Lake yet?
Yeah, it's been cool. I walked from my car to my house, and somebody just recognized me literally from right there. So it's just cool that I've had a positive impact on the community just through football. So yeah, it's been fun though. It's been awesome.
Well, it was awesome to watch the debut of Devon Dampier in a Utah football uniform. It is exactly what people were hoping for. So no pressure, but now you got to keep doing that.
Now we got to keep it up. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Dev, great talking to you every time we get a chance. Good luck against Cal Poly. Stay healthy, and we'll chat again next week.
Yeah, thank you. Dishin with Dev.
Dishin with Dev right here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Our conversation with QB1 every week is brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Experience the Culligan difference. America First Credit Union, Polylift, Concrete Lifting and Piering, ARUP Blood Services. Give local, save local. We got plenty more Utes to talk about and to talk to. Stay tuned right here on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM.